Okay, the next thing we're going to get into here are the three tempos that we used. If you're coaching a younger team, I would recommend using only the first two tempos. It'll make it easier on your kids. It'll make it easier on you. You'll have less penalties and so on. So again, let's go through these. Tempo 1, you're going to signal in the play. The quarterback's going to say the cadence, set, go. The team's going to run the play. So the next however many plays, you'll be in tempo 1 until you signal tempo 2 or tempo 3. Okay, tempo 2, all right, is the first one that we used quite a bit. It's really good to get, especially younger kids, to jump off sides defensively. So if you just get a big first down, or it's third and a mile, third and short, and you're trying to get them to jump off sides, you sprint to the ball, which your kids are going to do on every play, and you send in tempo 2. Here's what tempo 2 does. It eliminates the possibility of offensive kids jumping off sides. The way that we do that is because we're not sending in an actual play. So you're going to send in 2 fingers, which would mean you're running tempo 2. The kids are going to line up in the last formation that they were in, or whatever formation you send in, and the quarterback's going to start the cadence of set, go. Now, if your kids jump off sides, this is only going to happen once the whole year, and it'll probably be in a scrimmage or practice. One kid will jump off sides, and you ask that kid, what play were you running? And they're not going to have an answer. And most of the time, the other kids are going to laugh at them for a second, and that's okay, because then they all have that aha moment learning experience where they understand that you didn't even send in a play. All you sent in was a tempo. So who was he going to block when he fired off the ball and jumped off sides? He didn't even have a play to run. Okay, so the way that works is you're going to send in tempo 2. Quarterback says set, go. The coach from the sideline will yell play. All the players are in a 2-point stance for this tempo. You're going to turn, and you're going to look to the sideline. And when I say 2-point stance, we play in a 2-point stance on every snap except for tempo 3, and we'll get to that in a second. Okay, when the players look to the sideline, linemen included, you're going to send in the play that you actually want them to run, and then they're all going to get lined up. Quarterback says set, go. They're going to run the play. Okay, so that's very good for keeping the defense on their heels. You're going to use this multiple times a game, not just in situations where you want them to jump off sides. It keeps the defense on their heels. It keeps them from firing off the ball because they never know when it's going to get snapped because you're playing so fast. The third tempo, which again, unless you're coaching 7th and 8th graders, or maybe even 6th, 7th, 8th graders, probably wouldn't run tempo 3. It's harder to do. It's harder to teach. The way this works is you're going to have, and it's more coaching throughout the week. So you're going to have 5 or 6 go-to plays throughout the week that you have special hand signals for. That when you hold up your pinky finger, that's going to mean you're going to run ISA, or you're going to run inside zone to the right out of trips right. And they're going to line up and do it as fast as they can. So you're going to have 5 or 6 go-to plays that you can run. Works really well with high school kids, junior high kids. Most of the junior high teams I've seen would be capable of doing this. But the way it works is you're going to send in tempo 3. Quarterback's going to say set, go. The whole offensive line is going to snap down into a 3-point stance. And then instead of yelling play so that the kids look over to the sideline, the quarterback's going to look over, and you're going to signal to the quarterback what he's going to echo. So again, back to that call, he might yell pinky, pinky, pinky to the offensive line, and they know that's the play that they're going to run out of what formation, set, go, run the play. Again, it's a little bit harder to do. Works really well with high school kids. It's just another wrinkle into the tempos. Again, if I'm coaching probably 6th grade and under, I would definitely just stick with tempo 1 and tempo 2. Okay, the next few slides here are going to be just a review of the 3 tempos. One thing I do want to point out, I don't know if you can go on YouTube or you have it recorded and saved like I do because I'm a football junkie, but if you were to go back and watch the first series of the national championship game from last year between Oregon and Ohio State. Oregon is in tempo 1 for the first 8 plays or whatever it is on that first drive that they score a touchdown on. Oregon starts a national championship game by running 4 plays in under 1 minute, and then that's 1 minute of actual time, not 1 minute on the game clock with stoppages. They ran 4 plays in under 1 minute, and that's what tempo 1 can do for you. You stay in the same formation. They were more capable because they're college kids, obviously, so they changed formations. But at the youth level, stay in the same formation and have a series of plays pre-scripted. Run those plays as fast as possible. Your defense is huffing and puffing before you get to the first down of the game. Okay, this next clip is from our Friday night football games. This is at the varsity level. We're playing against an undefeated football team, and this was my first season at the school. This is our backup quarterback because we lost our starting quarterback to a collarbone. And as you can see, the cameraman literally can't even keep up with how fast we're playing. This is the same formation, same play, multiple times in a row for a touchdown. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the different ways you can use tempo 2. The first one, obviously, is to get the defense to jump off sides, as we did here. This clip was from week 1. The previous year, the team that we're playing was a state semifinalist, so one of the Final Four teams in the state of Ohio. The year before, they had a lot of guys coming back, wound up winning the game in overtime, and this was a big part of it. This was a big, huge swinging field position. You can see, they had punted us the ball. This is early in the game. They punted us the ball, and we were crammed back in our own end zone. We used tempo 2 to get them to jump off sides, to get that 5-yard penalty to get us out of the end zone so we could run this trick play. worked out perfect. Okay, the next use of tempo 2 is just a basic check with me. So you see a lot of college teams do this. Really, you see a lot of high school teams do this anymore. This is our first possession in the game. So you can see up in the corner, it's play 12. So first possession in the football game, we go check with me just to make sure we get the look we want up front. We get the look that we expected, and we go on with the play that we had on the script, which was our sweep read option, which is just a version of the buck sweep with an RPO attached to it, but we'll get into more of that later when we get into the plays. Okay, and in this last look here, I'm going to show you the whole drive. We go tempo 2 here to start just to make sure we were getting the look we wanted. We see that we do get the look we wanted, so we went tempo 1 from there. So tempo 1 means, again, we're staying in the same formation, and we're just lining up, running the play as fast as we can. Okay, so we run our buck sweep read option here, get a nice gain, and then we are right up on the ball for the next play to run, I believe it's counter tray back to the left here. Yep, so we run counter tray back to the left. We see they're creeping up their backers. They're starting to play downhill, so we go tempo 2 again just to see if they'll jump off sides or if we can get a blitz. And see, sometimes you get these bluff blitz calls, and if we wouldn't have went tempo 2 there, we wouldn't have got that, right? So we were able to see they weren't really blitzing, which set this up perfectly so we could run our counter tray Q, and we score a touchdown. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can use tempos in this offense. If it's the end of the football game and you're just trying to slow the game down, you can go tempo 2 every snap. It's the same thing as huddling, but you don't have to teach a huddle, learn how to break a huddle properly, and waste all that time in practice working on a huddle. You can just use tempo 2 and it accomplishes the same thing.